Okay, this is the answer key for the Chapter 6-2 homework. So looking at number 1, if you notice the name of the class is I Want 3 Hellos, and as we look at this, the loop control variable starts at 1, so it goes to the loop as 1, and then it will go through as 2 after it gets incremented, and it'll then, when it hits 3, it will make the Boolean expression false, and so 3 will not work. Therefore, it goes through 2 times, and so but they want 3 hellos. Number 2, the problem here is that in the loop body there is no update for the loop control variable. So as in here, the loop control variable is incremented by 1. Here, the loop control variable being updated is missing. Therefore, the loop control variable always has a value of 1, and so this will produce an infinite loop because this Boolean expression will always be true because it will never change. So it's an infinite loop. Number 3. The problem with number 3 is that in the first time that the loop control variable is tested in the Boolean expression, it's false. So 1 is not greater than or equal to 5, so this is false. So it does not even go through the loop. And that would be a mistake because it really needs to go through the loop, so that would be an accident by the programmer. Number 4. And here, the problem is, let me check here. Okay, there we go. And here the problem is going to be in the while statement. So the while statement has a semicolon. Why doesn't this act right? Alright. It has a semicolon, and so which will produce a what they call an empty loop body. It actually disregards this and sets up a loop body that is empty, and so it produces an infinite loop. So it just keeps on running, but it does nothing except for just keep running, doing nothing. The next one is the 5, and that is the problem here, is that the loop control variable has not been initialized, so it hasn't been assigned anything. So when it comes to the Boolean expression, it's calling a variable that has no value, and so the compiler will catch that error, and so this won't even get past the compiler. So that's the first part. Okay, if we go down to A on page 3 of our notes, the idea here is you were supposed to have tracked the memory locations, and so of course we just have one variable, which is roll, and so it starts out at 1, and then when it goes to the Boolean expression, of course 1 is less than or equal to 3. Now the idea here, this is associated with Chapter 6-1 assignment, so we know that we want 3 rolls of the dice here. And so anyways, we go on here, then it says roll a pair of dice, and so the roller, or the user, rolls the dice, and let's say the user enters a 10. And so 10 gets stored in roll, because that's what this means. Roll is assigned the user input. And so now roll becomes 10. That's the value, the current value now of roll. And then the next line down here, it increments roll by 1. So now it's 11. And then at the end of the loop, we go back to while and test the loop control variable. Roll is now 11. 11 is not less than or equal to 3. So we only go through the loop one time. And so this is a problem. And so the key thing here is that what this violates is it violates the principle that we talked about on page 4, where it says the general rule is that the loop control variable should have no other purpose in the program except to control the loop or track the number of loop iterations. Now that's a general rule. The control variable can have more than one purpose, but it's tricky. So until you understand how to do that, you should not do it. So it should only have one purpose, and that is to control the loop. And so the idea here is what should have happened is that a separate loop control variable should have been set up, and let's just say we'll call it C, and that's set up to be 1, and roll should be left to only doing its thing, which is to store the user input. The loop control variable C then controls the loop, and that's all it does. Whereas with roll, it was trying to control the loop and store the roll amount, and that just, as you see, it just didn't work. And so what should have happened is we should have a separate loop control variable whose only job is to control the loop. And then you can see here it's going to work because it doesn't matter what roll is. That's not going to control the loop. It'll do its thing, and then the loop control variable C will do its thing and only allow 3 rolls of the dice. Alright, next one is, let's see here. The last one here, the idea here is that this is, the first thing is it's not going to get by the compiler because the roll amount has not been declared. So it should have been declared as an int somewhere up here, and then the compiler would be fine with it. But as is, the compiler is going to say it hasn't been declared, so it can't find that symbol anywhere. Alright, and the other thing would be, let's say that it was declared and it was able to run. The other issue is that there's no update. There's no place for count to be incremented by 1. So this, if it were able to run, it would produce an infinite loop. Alright, so those are 2 problems with B. And that's it for Chapter 6-2 homework right there.